Okay, so Nintendo have just given us a bunch of information regarding the Nintendo Switch Lite, as we now learn it's known as, which is the smaller brother, I guess you could say, of the original Nintendo Switch, coming in at $100 cheaper than the standard console. However, before you go and rush to click the pre-order button, just bear in mind that with such a substantial decrease in price, there is also quite a substantial amount of fewer features. And we're going to be taking a look at some of those. But before we get to that, something that no doubt everybody will ask is, when is this being released? Well, the Nintendo Switch Lite is due to be out on September even, I was going to say November, September the 20th of this very year, and it will be clocking in at $199, as I say, $100 less than the standard Nintendo Switch. Now, in terms of the overall design, it's described as being a lighter version of the Nintendo Switch. Makes me think that perhaps that's just marketing spiel for a cheaper version of the Nintendo Switch. But as you can see by the website here, with the various pictures and whatnot that are flying about on the screen, the most notable thing that you're going to see immediately is that it doesn't have detachable Joy-Cons. So what's that about? Well, the Nintendo Switch Lite is being marketed very much as a handheld console. As a matter of fact, this thing cannot even be docked into TV mode, so it can only be played in handheld mode. It can't even be played in tabletop mode. And this is going to be one of the big issues that people are going to have to understand before they make their purchase of this console. Because some games do not work in handheld mode. In fact, they only work in either tabletop or TV mode. So not every game is going to be compatible with the Nintendo Switch Lite. However, some games that normally wouldn't be compatible with the Lite can be made to be compatible if you invest in a pair of proper Joy-Cons and also a charging kit such as the handheld grip for those Joy-Cons, so that they can be used separately in tabletop mode. But the problem is, if you do that, Joy-Cons are not cheap. They're probably about $70 for a pair of Joy-Cons, at which point you're only actually saving $30 from the Nintendo Switch original console anyway. So just something to bear in mind. In terms of the other features, the Nintendo Switch Lite is a little bit smaller than its counterpart, the original Switch. As a matter of fact, I get the impression that one of the big primary target audiences that Nintendo are aiming for with this console is the handheld market, specifically those that have been using the Nintendo 3DS and still haven't really felt the need to go for a Switch because they only play in handheld mode. Now, of course, the Switch is also a handheld console, but it's a handheld console with a hefty price, which doesn't necessarily appeal to the handheld market. But with the Nintendo Switch Lite, they're going to be able to appeal to that market at the right price point. And if that's who you are, then this is definitely a console you're going to be interested in. Now, I say they've announced the specs, that's what Nintendo are claiming. A lot of the technical specs we still don't know about. What we do know is that the overall size of the console is going to be a little bit smaller than the original Switch. The screen is going to be coming in at 5.5 inches diagonally compared to 6.2 inches of the original screen. Both Switches, of course, will still retain their touchscreens, and pretty much all of the features on the original Switch will still be present outside of those that I mentioned would not be. Because it's going to be a smaller, well, it's going to, not be quite as powerful and what have you, the battery life is going to be improved on the Nintendo Switch Lite. Not a whole lot. Nintendo are marketing it as improved battery, which kind of sounds important since it is going to be a handheld only console. However, the battery life is being marketed at 5 to 7 hours. Now, 3 to 7 hours. So I'm assuming heavy gaming use is going to be 3 hours, then lighter use you'll be able to push up to 7. But the original Switch is marketed at 2.5 to 6.5 hours of battery life. So as I say, not a huge difference there, only 30 minutes in either direction. There's a few other minor features as well that won't be available, such as the rumble of the original Switch will not be present in the Nintendo Switch Lite, which I guess kind of makes sense for a handheld console. But another audience I believe that Nintendo are marketing this for is actually current Switch owners. because, you know, a lot of games for the Nintendo Switch can be played wirelessly against others with the console. So it'd be a bit of an investment, I guess, for people who already own the console but want another family member to play with and play against with their own console that can't quite justify the full expenditure of a standard Nintendo Switch, but might be persuaded to buy the Nintendo Switch Lite to complement their main console. Anyway, guys, what do you think of the announcement here by Nintendo? One thing I should mention as well is that the Nintendo Switch Lite is going to be made available in a variety of designs and decals that the original will not be, including a pretty awesome Pokemon design, which I've seen and looks great. But folks, I've got a Nintendo Switch. I don't really feel the need to purchase the Lite. Even if I didn't, I don't think this would be for me, because 95% of the time that I'm playing the Switch, I'm playing it in TV mode anyway. But this isn't aimed at me. A lot of people in the handheld market are going to be interested in this, so please do share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.